Hello, myself Sunil R Nair, and here basically we are discussing about the future plans. How basically they are decided and who basically decides it. So in this basically we have talked lots of topic basically and banking sector also basically we have talked. Now basically we are going to talk about some software industry topic. How basically they decides the future basically. Future basically their future they decide or basically the somebody else decide. So mostly basically it's 50 percentage. 50 percentage is decided by the somebody else. For example, one problem basically was tracked there. So literally if the smart software company basically owner is there, then he immediately basically track that and send the quotation. Basically we can solve this type of problem, we have this utility, we have this type of data manipulation, this that this each and everything basically is going to. So like this, he told that basically we can provide you the each and everything basically. Then they told that basically okay, if basically business development officer is basically good. Business development officer means company owner basically. He is basically one of the business development officer. So he told that basically this that this. Then he told that basically okay basically we can basically give you the project. So basically they told that basically okay basically you can start the project. Like this basically gets the project. So that is the future of the project. That is the future of the company, software company. So here basically one person told that basically uh, here also basically the percentage basically are decided. Then he told that exactly basically the percentage are basically decided. 50 percentage project basically are given by the software computer basically company owners basically that are basically the Dell, HP, Compaq, then Lionel, Microsoft, and basically Compaq is there. Like this, basically many software companies are basically there. Software company means who creates the operating system. Basically, Linux is there, Linux is there, Unix is there. Basically, they all basically are basically into the software company basically side basically, and they basically decides they do the mapping of the project basically. In Unix, basically, few people say that basically the business development officer can't know the Unix, right? Then basically how they might be getting the project. Then basically this was the interesting question basically he asked. Then he told that basically there might be some reason basically. There might be some technique basically they might be using. So like this basically the each and every operating system basically group says that basically you are going to get the project basically. Like this he told that basically you are going to get the project. So 50 percentage is that basically. Then basically if 10 percentage are basically their company software company own product basically. For example, one of the company basically told that we basically sells tempo also, we basically sells truck also, we basically sells heavy equipment also. From there also basically they gets the 10% of project basically. Few people says that basically we have basically open our restaurant, we have hotels, we have basically resort. From there also basically there's certain level of project basically they gets. Like this a few people says that basically we are basically sitting at bad area, we red light area also basically. There also basically our products are basically there. For example, chatting product is there, somebody is chatting from the this that. Like this basically from there also basically we get the information that this type of problems basically is occurring. So from there also basically we get product. Then basically they told that basically uh, we get the product from the Bollywood group also basically. Then Bollywood group says that basically we only basically gives you the problem, each and every data basically. So from there also basically we get the project. Like this basically the projects basically are created basically by set of group basically. Set of groups basically creates the project basically. Set of group basically creates a project basically. So like this basically the groups basically decides the future of the software company basically. And software company basically says that basically we also have our own area basically like this. For example, text box equal to thousand cities, combo box equal to thousand cities. So like this basically this all are our area basically. So in this from this area basically we creates lots of medicine also, yeah, lots of human needs basically we creates. We are also doing lots of but we can't do the charity, right? Like this, if we are producing the human needs, that also basically we require the money also, na? Then how basically our employee salary is going to be covered, how basically our this that basically generating expense basically is going to cover. So like this basically they told that basically for that side basically we create our own area basically also, our own area basically also you can say. So like this basically the software company says that like this also basically we have created our future basically. Like this few this basically discussion is going with the World Bank with that person basically who is sitting in front of the me, and basically we are discussing basically. So like this we are telling that basically we are actually trying to find out basically why he is not getting the job. Then he told that basically there might be some reason basically it's some to find that reason basically we are doing this all discussion basically. So just see basically how the basically one small issue basically converted into the big thing basically. So like this is basically just a virtual basically communication. In real basically this all basically never basically happens. That one World Bank person basically sitting in front of me, and then basically he is communicating with I am communicating with him basically. Like this real basically never basically happens. So that only happens in the picture basically, and lots of movie basically it's created. For in that only basically this type of thing basically happens. In real basically nobody basically take care of the each other basically because they don't have any time only basically. So like this basically in Mumbai basically if person is dying then also basically they say that basically let him die basically. We don't have money, we don't have time, we don't have this. For example is me myself basically. I went to 5 time in Mumbai basically, but there was no job basically. I have got basically due to that basically my marriage got delayed. Like this basically lots of things basically happen in. That does not mean the world has ended. That does not mean the world basically has ended due to the six visit basically. The world has not ended. So like this basically this is the also future of the software company. Then basically one of the person told that banking sector also basically give lots of products. Yeah, so you don't you know basically. Then he told that how basically you can say that like. Then he told that basically the banking products basically which they use basically they basically gives you the they are not giving you the project. Then he told that yes basically they are giving the product. The mutual fund basically which they are basically selling, that basically is the future for the software company. For example, they are selling few mutual funds to the software company. Then basically they say that basically we are going to 100% going to invest this your mutual fund into the your area only basically, and your area is this text box equal to 1,000 cities, combo box equal to 1,000 cities. So each and every project in this world basically I'm telling you, for example there are 1 crore project ongoing, that all are basically working for this text box, combo box, and like this. So in this basically there is no basically if anybody person to then basically are you sure basically you're talking this all are correct, then basically Sunil R Nair given the answer. Do one thing, create one new object basically that is totally different than text box, combo box, menu, check box, radio button, create button, submit button, create one new object base. Then you will know basically exactly what actually Sunil or Nair is speaking basically. Then you will basically say that yes, yeah, yes, Sunil, you are correct, yeah, basically. Then you will say basically, yeah, lots of nuclear company connected with us basically. Then they told that basically what you are creating basically, how basically you got the permission basically, that this, that, they basically I literally basically have told lots of things basically. Then like this basically the people who have created this basically text box, they basically told that basically you basically can't create anything other than the permission of nuclear company, because each and every project in this world basically, that is 1 crore project basically which is ongoing, this is basically just number. In real basically this can be 1 lakh also, or it can be 10 crore also, it can be 100 crore also. So like this whatever project basically it is going, that is basically going to generate the energy of text box, combo box, this only basically. So whatever project you do, whatever in this world basically do you do the project basically, when the power company whatever project means what, the project are deploying where basically, that is in server only basically. Whatever project you do basically, if you do the internet project, that is going to deploy in the server only basically. So he told that yes basically it's 100% correct. So that server basically is generating energy for this control box only. So basically when you are creating any new product basically, new object basically, for example assume that you created some new object, assume basically. So basically you have to contact to nuclear power company, you have to contact to power company, they only basically can give you the space basically. That the space means basically, for example, text box equal to 1,000 city you have created. So that's 1,000 city who basically given the space basically, who basically told that basically you can data of the, you can take the data for this 1,000 city from this country, that country, how basically they got the information. That is from nuclear power company basically, because they are only basically will be responsible for the earth planet which is moving currently in wherever basically. So they will be responsible, power company will be responsible, the nuclear power company will be responsible basically whatever things basically is going to happen. So literally, basically, the nuclear power company, they only basically connects to that person. Basically, we can give you basically this 100 city basically, or this 200 city basically, from start from this 300 city or 400 city or 500 city. Then basically later on basically we can give you the after creation of this particular object basically, they, we feel that basically this object basically is generating some energy. Generating energy means you are going to 100% going to generate few set of human needs only basically. It can be in the form of petrol, it can be in the form of vegetable, it can be in the form of oil basically, it can be in the form of fruits, it can be in the form of some milk, it can be in the form of some juice, it can be in the form of some construction materials, it can be in the form of any basically, anything basically. It can be in the form of human souls also basically, which basically dumps in the lady's body, and then basically the birth start, but the sperm condition is there basically. So without sperm basically you can't create the, that means without men basically you can't create the child. So like this basically condition you are there. So like this basically you can able to create this all this thing from this from that object basically. Then he told that basically, okay, okay, okay. So like this, basically, they told that basically, let me experiment. Basically, the Sunil basically R Nair, Ramakrishna Nair is telling correct or not. World Bank basically told that World Bank basically told that yeah, basically he's correct, telling 100% correct. Yeah. Because we are handling the entire bank. World Bank basically each and every city's balance sheet and the data basically, cities and data basically. Then he told that, are you sure basically? Then he told that yes, basically, yeah, 100% sure, basically, because each and every mutual fund basically products basically which we are creating and sending to the bank, that we know that basically for which sector basically we are creating. Each and every product basically we creates from the banks, na, that which for which sector basically, that we know. Na. For example, this sector is basically for some recruitment sector. This sector is basically is for some restaurant sector. This sector is for some hotel sector. This basically project is for banking sector. So like this, basically many projects are basically there. And then products, sorry, projects and product basically you can say both are one basically. So each and every product basically of the banking product basically we create it. Like this basically World Bank basically only connects with the few banks basically. In India basically that is, I think, some central bank are there basically, that are SBI is there, Bank of Baroda is there, Bank of India is there, Bank of Maharashtra is there. Like this basically many semi central government and central government banks are basically there. And sometimes basically they connects with the private banks also basically, because you don't know basically which bank basically can give you the investment, and basically which this normal semi government also basically can't give you the investment basically. Then one basically person told that basically each and every bank's data are data basically the products basically sends, they basically central bank only basically they send. So they only decides basically which bank is supposed to convert to the central bank. That basically that's depend upon the bank basically manager, then the bank authority person, bank investor basically, banks basically who are the bankers basically, who will basically literally do the hard work. Bankers basically are equal to, you can say, the business development officer basically. That also basically happens same way basically. The I had told that example, server basically, in server basically, let's set of project basically are deployed. That product basically roadmap is designed, that like this basically you are going to product get the project, like this basically you are going to get the project. So like this basically everything is settled in the server basically, settled in the project. For that basically you have to do the communication. So one person told that basically if in server basically it is written that from Vadodara city you have to go to Bangalore city, then basically literally you have to go basically. If you are not going, then your supervisor will going to tell basically you have to go to Bangalore city, and you have to meet this person basically. Literally you have to go. Why? Because in server basically it's drawn the plan basically according to that basically you have to go basically. So in server basically it's planned basically and it's drawn that basically from this city basically at this time basically you have to go to Bangalore city basically. And in this basically one person told that basically time basically is there basically or it's basically infinite and time basically whenever you go to basically you are going to get the project. That basically the company owner basically automatically knows that basically if the business is not happening then basically why the business is not happening like this basically they do the communication and they can connect to the set of business development advisor also basically then they basically say give the advice because they have the data basically. So in middle basically on the software company basically the business advisor also basically there who basically have the data of each and every server basically of the each and every software company basically. And few people says that they are chartered accountants, CS, IITs, IIMs, and basically many people are basically there. So company owner basically are literally connected with this all group basically. So like this basically he told that basically yeah you are basically 100% correct. So like this basically the this also basically is the future of the software company basically. So like this basically the future of the software company is like this basically. So like this one person told that basically there are basically many groups basically like sports groups are there basically. One person told that all sports groups are people even no basically nowadays basically the each and every sports groups have kept themselves totally different basically. Cricket industry is totally different. Table tennis industry is totally different. Football industry is totally different. They will never keeps themselves to merge with the other sports people basically. They never merge their people. They basically never merge their sports basically. So like this basically the sports people also basically say that basically yeah basically we have this product we have this project basically you can basically start the project basically. The software company like this basically they give because this is the business basically and business basically can come from any time basically and from anywhere basically. For example here only basically I in this video conference basically I generated more than 100 projects basically. That also basically does not exist in the world only basically. More than 100 projects if you view the videos you will get that more than 100 projects basically just now basically from this video basically it is created. So that's basically new project basically. That project does not exist also in this world only basically. That does not even basically in AI basically AI equal to SAP equal to ready-made projects. There also basically this project does not exist. So SAP will also say that basically yeah 100 this project basically does not exist basically. The SAP creation basically who created the thousand city equal to SAP. They will also say basically, we have also not found this project. We were not able to analysis this project. So more than 100 projects basically are there. From these videos only you are going to get. So that's basically different thing basically. That basically who are understand the software company basically or the server company basically if they understands the project basically. Understands the project means the people basically who are dumping the projects into the server basically they basically can understand this basically because they are only generating the projects basically. They are directly connected with the nuclear power company because they basically got the project from the nuclear power company that we want this type of energy. So for that basically you can create the projects basically. And after creating the project basically you do one thing you prepare the data also basically. That basically for that basically IITs are there, IIMs are there basically. And this data basically keeps on rotating basically. Keeps on rotating basically. For example, one person told that basically you are project manager. So there are basically many basically the software project leader basically they want to become the project manager. So like this basically they keeps on rotating the data basically. Like so this basically they keeps on rotating the data. So like this basically they told that basically we have many products basically we are keeps on rotating. We IITs are there, IIMs are there. Basically. Then other countries basically data are also there basically. It's not like that basically only IITs and IIMs MBA group basically do the development. Like this basically other than outside India basically groups are also basically there basically. But mostly basically they one day basically they will say that if I we basically have helped that person that would be that was basically fine basically. That would be fine basically. That was basically that might be fine basically. So like this basically they basically never miss the any of the data basically. So the IITs, IIMs and MBA basically they keeps on basically rotating which person is doing what which person is basically doing that. So they will basically keeps on rotating basically the videos, each and everything basically they keeps on tracking. So for that basically especially they creates a set of groups also basically what person is doing what, because from there basically they, from that basically only they can able to track what that particular person is basically doing and up to what level the particular person is. So like this basically this is also basically the one of the future project, and this basically 100% this all project basically 100% exists. And one example basically I have given the education. CA is the highest education in the accounting industry. Higher than CA, basically, there is no education sector basically created by the education industry. So that energy basically from where basically is going to generate. It might possible that basically somebody basically might click the data basically, and he basically might create the higher education degree than the chartered accountant also. Like this basically chartered accountant degree is also created like that only. Chartered accountant degree also created like that only basically. Degrees and education are equal to disease, that basically everybody knows. Disease basically converts into medicine basically when basically the physical location basically are created. That physical location are basically equal to that degree basically, and the degree is equal to taken by the people basically, and the people basically takes the energy from the thousand city basically, where the degree is basically getting the energy basically. So like this basically each and every degrees basically are connected with the physical location, and physical location are basically connected with the power company, energy companies, and nuclear power company, and the human basically are connected with this power company. They basically directly don't get the data basically. For example, one person is doing the problem solving, and he's directly basically not going to get a data from the thousand city basically, because this is not possible basically. This type of thing basically never basically happened in the life basically. So this basically when this type of thing basically will happen, that is the basically dangerous question basically. That is the most dangerous question basically somebody asked. And this is also basically one of the future product projects basically you can say. This is the most dangerous project also basically you can say, that it might possible that somebody can attract any of the degree basically from the direct location. That's why basically the power company, nuclear power company, and the energy company, they keeps on tracking the each and every people basically. How many people are doing chartered accountant, how many people are basically in BCom. Few people says that there is no value of BCom, so they basically don't take become people only basically. So that is basically different thing basically, that is a totally different thing basically. That might be he basically might not be having the projects of become like basically. So that's why basically might not be hiring the become. That is basically different thing basically. That is the totally different topic. So like this basically the become people says that basically like this each and every degree basically you get. That's why basically each and every the nuclear power company and the energy company, they keeps on taking the data of the education sector basically, that how many people are basically doing part-time work or part-time education, how many people are basically doing full-time education, how many people are basically doing this course, that course, each and every course basically. Like this they keeps on rotating basically, because they just want to track basically any person basically is not supposed to attract the data directly, because they know basically what they are actually how basically they are attracting the data basically. For example, one person told that one person is basically doing MBA, so he is basically not going to not going to get the data directly from the thousand cities. He's only basically going to get the that basically that all are basically now that are basically rich people basically, like King's family, Raja Sahi family, Kyun family, that is basically Rani family. Even basically they also basically gets the data, but they gets the data special data basically from the special location. For there basically the special location is created. For example, one person is doing MBA. He's basically from came from basically King's family, Kyun family. So they basically get special data. Basically, whenever they do the registration of the MBA, that time only basically they gets the information that basically one of the royal family basically has joined the MBA basically, and like this basically you have to send the basically data basically. Then he told that okay, basically we will send the data. Like this, basically the power company, energy company basically sends the data to each and every people basically according to the category of that particular person basically. So like this, basically this is also basically dangerous future of the software company basically. because each and everything basically are digitally controlled basically. Each and every things basically are controlled digitally. So same way basically here basically nobody can attract basically directly to the location basically. That is not possible here. That is impossible basically. But power company energy keeps on tracking each and everything because they know basically how basically they are attracting the data. Why? Because satellite groups are basically connected with that particular data. That is basically the nuclear power company and like this each and every energy companies basically the satellite groups are basically connected. That satellite groups are basically connected basically. Like this basically one person told that basically how basically this can be possible here. Then one of the person basically told that basically, for example, one person is doing MBA and he basically literally basically was very dangerous and very powerful and basically I don't know how many types of business basically generated. Like this basically the even the power company was not able to give him that type of energy basically. Then basically he told that basically then basically how he was getting the energy. Then basically he told that basically he was getting energy basically other than that MBA region basically. For example, Thousand City has created the MBA. That MBA, that MBA energy basically that is the Thousand City. That actually Thousand City was not able to give him the data basically. So he was basically attracting. He was basically getting the data basically from other sectors basically that are the other cities basically. Then he told that, then basically he told that basically what actually the MBA is basically. That is the business development of each sector basically. Then he told that exactly correct basically. So IT sector basically is one business development area basically. You can say there are many MBA people basically who says that basically, we can give you the business development work basically. We can give you the business basically. That is the work of MBA basically. If he joins the business development of the software industry, then he told that exactly you are correct. So joint he joins this degree basically. So like this basically he told that basically exactly. So when he's doing the basically when he's doing the MBA, that time basically one person told that when he is basically doing the MBA, that time basically he basically let that time only basically when he was doing the MBA, that time basically he created very dangerous level of business also basically. That basically the MBA basically that city basically that is the thousand cities. He was not able to track that basically data basically. What basically we database we should send to that particular person basically because he read the one book and then basically started basically writing his book basically. And when he was basically doing that creation that book the book basically that time basically the different sector basically for example IT sector then banking sector that data basically he got connected. Why? Because he was that MBA people, MBA basically degree, degree energy giving area basically that is a thousand city. They were not able to give the data to that particular person basically. So like this, basically power company keeps on tracking the thing because this was basically new book basically, which might possible that basically this new book basically can generate into the thousand city basically and it can become thousand and one basically. That's why basically they keeps on tracking each and everything basically each and every people basically who are doing the degree. So this is also basically this video basically few MBA people will be seeing this. They also basically will literally say that yes, yeah, basically you are correct, you are 100% correct. So like this basically the new book basically was created. That's why basically the that's why basically the digital group basically who are tracking each and every energy basically they keeps on tracking basically. They keeps on tracking the logs. They keeps on for example one MBA person is doing the degree, so the MBA from the city basically is getting the energy with the help of the power company. They keeps on giving the data to the energy that person basically is reading the MBA book. So whatever energy basically is getting generating that basically is that is basically captured by the set of server companies basically. Then he told that yes, basically server companies are basically tracking his energy basically. That energy basically is telling that basically up to what level basically he understand the thing basically. So basically before basically person basically gives the exam, before person gives the exam, that compared that basically the server basically says that basically he is going to get this many percentage basically. This connects like this basically. The election basically the election industry is there basically. Election basically we can say that it's one industry basically. So they have opinion poll basically. So they give opinion poll like this only basically. They give opinion poll like this only basically. They create the futures. They basically say that basically this party is good, this party is not good. So like this basically they literally creates the future basically. So each and every people basically energy basically are generated in the log file basically. That means news channel basically are, oh, who are this news channel basically. One question basically asked by one of the person. Then they told that basically they are basically who basically they are. That means they know the each and every system of the IT industry also. Otherwise, they will how basically they are going to get the data. Then basically one person told that basically there is an IT group basically who are basically connected with this news channel basically. They are basically giving the data basically because they don't know the IT. Na? They can't basically say that basically this is basically this, that. So they basically don't know. So each and every news channel basically are connected with the software companies. They gives the data and this is that basically this basically log we have generated. So basically you can do one thing. You can say the opinion poll as this basically. Instead of that, basically the software company might be getting some money. That is different thing. That is basically different. And few software company purchase the news channel also. Basically. For example, big software company, everybody knows who is the number one company in India basically. They basically literally purchase the news channel only basically. And they say that basically we will handle the news channel basically. But the news basically that news experience basically that you only have basically. We can just give the data basically. We can share the data basically. Whatever data basically. Example is MBA basically. MBA person basically is studying and they are basically like this. The log file is generating in the particular system and basically what actually he understood, what level the up to what level he basically understood the thing basically. That each and everything basically generating that computer basically. So just imagine the basically up to what dangerous level the server companies are. Up to what level the server companies are like MBA, like Compaq, HP, Dell. So you can just understand basically Microsoft. Like this, you can just understand basically. Then one person told that yes, here it's very dangerous. Then one person told that basically this project also basically should give this name or what? Infinity Dangerous Project. Then he told that basically do one thing, create one IDP category only basically, and in that basically you can add this project also basically. So literally basically that category got created, and that category basically contains many projects basically. So this is also basically one of the project basically. This project is already created because how basically they are giving the opinion poll basically. How basically they can say that basically this many percentage only basically that MBA person is going to get. This many percentage the MCA person is going to get. This many percent the IITs person is going to get. IIM person is going to get. MBA person is going to get. IIT basically these all are basically degrees, right? IIM person basically is going to get. So like this basically they literally generates the log file. Yeah, they literally generates the log file. And this is basically comes into the IDP project, that is the Infinity Development Project basically. Infinity Dangerous Project. Infinity Development Project also you can give the name basically. But dangerous word should be there basically. So you can give like this Infinity Dangerous Development Project also basically. This also basically what suits. Then one person told that basically different name basically comes into the for example one Tufan basically came. So in that basically many country basically gives the name. This name would be good, that name would be good. So how they basically give the name basically. So this basically is the name basically just now I given to you. That is Infinity Development Dangerous Project. Infinity Development Dangerous Project. IDDP or basically IDP. So there are two names basically just now basically connected. So this is also basically the future of the software company basically. And this basically all software company 100% know that this type of thing basically happens in the world basically. Because they keep some basically wherever basically they find the thing basically the business development that is the company owner basically. Sometimes basically they sits in the certain areas also basically. For example, red light area, they basically go there also basically and they gets project from there also basically. There from there basically also basically they gets the project. So you can just understand basically the thing basically. So like this, he told that basically this is also basically one of the future project. So this all basically project actually bank people might be knowing, right? Then he told that basically that World Bank person 100% might be knowing, yeah, because he is basically controlling up to the that black money also basically. That black money is basically stored in the Bombay Stock Exchange. That is the 12 lakh crore dollar, 12 lakh crore dollar. That much amount basically is kept in that particular location of the one of the server basically. Then he told that basically who is accessing that data basically, that basically they want to check. Like this type of basically World Bank basically says that basically we are up to that level basically we are tracking it everything basically. So this is also basically one of the future of the software company basically. Then basically one person told that basically how basically you told that the Bollywood industry are connected with the software industry. Then he basically told that, do you know basically one city basically when it gets creates, na, then one of the Bollywood writer basically enters into the city basically. Literally they basically given the contract to the Bollywood writer only basically. They basically writes they basically have the experience of the city creation basically, because they are doing this since very many time basically. So they know basically how basically the city has created. This city is going to generate which type of energy. So they each and everything basically they know that which energy basically the city is going to generate. So according to that basically only they writes basically, because the energy is created which because the city which is going to create that basically is going to create this energy only basically. For example, one person told that basically that 5 crore people basically one of the energy and the nuclear power company has created. So they know basically that they basically know that basically this basically the this human are going to generate basically. So they basically hired one project manager also. This project manager basically post also basically does not exist in the IT industry. So assume that this project manager post exists, and then basically he started doing the projects. Basically, he started collecting the task. He started collecting the hundreds of tasks. Basically generated, then basically generated into sprints. Like this, basically he told that basically we can create this project. The tasks are basically like this: create 5 prime minister, create 15 presidents, create 1500 project managers, create 1500 software delivery heads, create 1000 developers, create 1000 quality people, create 20 banks. He basically was literally shocked. The project manager basically who was from IT industry, he was literally shocked basically which type of task basically I am doing going to do basically, which type of task actually I am going to do. Then basically he told that basically 20 banks basically create 20 banks. Then he told that basically create this many currencies basically. He was shocked basically. I never create the currencies, yeah. I never created the currencies basically. Create this many crore currency basically. Create that much currency, that much dollar, that much euro. Like this basically each and every currency basically categorized. Then he told that basically create 1 lakh kilo potato basically, create 1 lakh kilo tomato basically from this software basically. So that software basically, before that basically he added one more thing basically, create this software, create one CRM or basically payroll software basically, which creates a tomato and a potato basically. After that basically he added this, create 1 lakh tomato, create 1 lakh potato. So like this basically this all task basically he started adding basically. He started adding basically. Then basically it was that basically create 20 cities. That basically IT people basically was basically literally shocked basically. Which type of task basically I am writing it. Create 20 cities? He basically never heard basically this type of task. Then basically he told that basically this type of task basically IITs and IM people basically do. Na. That basically they only gives the data basically. IAS officer, basically IAS officer means basically the people who basically are into the government level job. Basically, they basically goes in the red batti, red light, basically, sorry, the red batti car basically. Then they told that basically yes, yeah, red light areas, the red light car basically, red light cars basically. That groups basically, that means basically without their permission basically, for example one city basically we have created, then basically without IAS officer basically you can't get the signature basically. They only basically approves the thing basically that this city basically which he's getting created, he which is whether he basically can generate the tomato or not basically. Then it basically then they started tracking that basically they basically they have that plan basically of the nuclear power company basically they have prepared the plan basically. So this plan was basically thousand city, thousand area basically is going to create in this particular area, and this area is going to data from going to take data from the that particular 150 cities, 100 sorry 100 and 150 countries basically. So is this matching or not basically? The power supply basically which the company is going to give to this basically area, that basically power supply they are going to give or not basically. If they are going to give them basically, how they are going to collect the power supply also basically. This is not so easy task basically to create the one city basically. This only IAS officer basically can do. So he told that basically we can just define the task, rest of thing basically IAS group will do here. Because if the wrong city will get creates then basically entire world is going to get into trouble basically. Not only entire world basically, entire universe basically will, but universe people basically they never do the mistake because they finish that city only basically, because they can't basically take the risk basically, because it's a huge universe basically. There are more than 200 crore planets basically. In this basically, if anything happens, then Earth Planet Universe group basically will be responsible. Earth Planet Universe group will be responsible for this. And few people say that basically they have given the name God also basically in the Earth Planet. They have lots of temple also basically. We are created in the Earth Planet basically. That's why basically we are created, yeah. That means the God are basically who? Then basically they literally ask the question, God are basically who? So like this basically IT people, universe people, IAS basically, they basically say, moves in red light, sorry, red light vehicles basically. Red light means nowadays basically the ambassador basically has changed with some new vehicle basically, but ambassador vehicle still exists basically. So there basically the red light is there basically. Red light batti basically in English, with Hindi basically it is called. Like this nowadays basically BMW car is also there. Nowadays basically Renault Duster car is also, but Renault Duster basically car nobody use. So I have just taken as an example. Then BMW basically mostly people use basically. So like this basically they moves in the car, yeah. Basically they are not literally moving in the car basically, because they know each and everything up to dangerous level basically. The task is basically they are doing the dangerous level task basically they are doing basically. Not dangerous basically. You can give this name, this project name into the, you can add this into IDDB project basically. This is also basically one of the dangerous development project basically. IDDB add this also project into that particular category. So like this basically stuffs are basically there. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about the future development project basically. Who decides the future development projects basically. In next video we are going to see.